Hello, this is Justin at the Tech Train here, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a title slide intro a little like this one. Or for a little variation, try this. All done in PowerPoint. Let's get started. I'm going to begin with a new PowerPoint presentation, and I have the blank layout here of a new slide. I don't need the thumbnails on the left, so I'm going to close that up to give myself a little bit more room. Now what you'll see down here is I've got 4 words or 4 phrases which I'm going to use. There's a couple of different ways we could do this. The way I'm going to do it, as you saw in the demonstrations, is to have the same first letter for each word. So in this case, we're having coding, creativity, collaboration, and then computer science. But of course, you could do it in a different way and have words that begin with different letters. And instead of having the main capital letter on the left, you could have a logo or related image or something. So the process is the same regardless. So what I'm going to do to begin with is put a new text box on there and type the initial letter that I want. So the letter C in this case. And I'm going to make that a little bit larger and change the font to something a little bit more blocky and bold. Let's go for Haroni like that. And just make that a little bit bigger. Like that. Next we're going to add a vertical line. So I'm going to click on the line tool here. And a little tip to make sure that it is vertical, you don't end up going off at an angle like that, is to hold the Shift key down. And for as long as you hold the Shift key, no matter where you move your mouse, within reason, it's going to be a vertical line. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to change the shape outline color to black, and then also change the thickness so it's a little bit thicker, like that. There we go. Now, having done that, the next thing is to add the text boxes with the words in that I want. So I'm just going to Control, click and drag that so that I have this text box the same height as this one. The text box width will need to be a little bit longer. And then I'm going to type the first word, in this case coding, but without the initial letter C. Now, the longest word that I'm going to use is computer science. So in view of that, I want to make sure that I can get that longest word to fit along here. So I'm actually going to write out computer science, and then I'm going to reduce the font size so that that will fit, because as long as that fits onto one line like this, let's get rid of that capital O at the beginning, we don't need that, then as long as that fits, the rest of it will fit as well. And I can choose whether to have it centered or at the bottom. I think I'm going to have mine centered like that. So we'll just Shift click both of those, go to Shape Format, Align, and align the middles. So just to make sure that those two are lined up nicely. Okay, so now we've got the first of the text boxes that will have the longest word in there. What I can do now is to just duplicate that. So I'm going to hold down Control and just click and drag to make 3 copies of that text box. And in each one, I'm going to write one of these words. So we've got coding without the initial letter C. We've got creativity. And we've also got collaboration. Like that. And now I need to make sure that these are all lined up, but because they're going to be overlapping, they'll be a little difficult to see, as you can see there. So what I'm going to do is go to the Home tab and click on Select and open up the selection pane. This shows me all of the items or the objects that are on this slide. So this letter C over here, for example, at the moment it's called text box 7. I'm going to change that and just type in the letter C. I'm going to click on the coding text box here and change that from text box 11 to coding. Click on the computer science and change that to computer science. And you see here I'm not too worried about the fact that I'm using capitals or that I'm using the C. This is not going to be something which anyone will see. These are simply the names of the objects on my slide, which helps me to work out what's going on and what I'm manipulating what I'm using as I'm making it. So that's just something that's easier for me to do. I can even change this vertical line to call it line. So you can see naming all this sort of stuff here makes it much easier to work out what's going on, because now what I can do is I can grab this text box and this one and this one and this one. I'm going to click on shape format, align left first of all, and then I'm going to hold down shift and also include that text box and in fact the line as well, and align all of their middles. And then with them all selected, I can just move those back up into about the right place. And I'm aligning this vertically and horizontally, judging by eye at the moment, that'll be absolutely fine. But you can see that with all these text boxes overlapping each other, it's quite difficult to see which one's which. And if I click on that, it's hard to know which one I've actually selected. But you can see here, the one that I've selected is collaboration. Now we've got those text boxes in the right place, I need to now add an animation to each one, which will let it hide on the left hand side of the screen and then bounce in and then disappear again one at a time. So to do this, I need to start off with these text boxes on the left hand side of the screen and then animate them one by one. So I'm going to just drag a frame over all of those text boxes like that. Oh yeah, let's just do it this way around. There we go, and then hold down shift and deselect that one. And then I'm going to hold shift down, because like with the line, drawing it down, if you hold shift down, then no matter where you move your mouse, it moves a little bit, but it tends to hold the vertical alignment better than if you are just dragging it freehand. So there we go. So those text boxes are now on the left hand side. Now at the moment you can see they're obviously going to still be visible, and what we want is for these to arrive on the right hand side of this line without apparently passing through the left hand section. To do that, what I'm going to do is add a rectangle. I'm going to take the outline around from it, and I'm going to, for the moment, color it white. And if I move that over to the left hand side here, and I just bring that down so it's covering up all of that, you can see that what I'm doing, I can even just move it out slightly to just cover that bit, it's hiding those words. So these words are flying in behind this panel. Now I do want to make sure that this vertical line here isn't being covered at all, so I'm simply going to go onto the selection pane over here, grab the line and just drag it to the top, because that does need to be in front of this. So now if I was to click one of these text boxes here and slide that in, you can see now that it appears to be sliding from almost through a slit in the paper, coming through there. Now the letter C also needs to be in front of that white panel. So now we've named it on the right hand side, we can see how we can simply drag that up to the top. So that is in front of this white panel as well. By the way, the demonstrations I showed at the beginning, you'll notice both of those had a picture background or a gradient background, and I will show you in this tutorial how to achieve that. So this blank white panel here is just for the demonstration for now. I will show you how to create the image. Okay, let's do the first animation. So the first word which I want to appear is coding. So the last one's going to be computer science. It's going to be in this order here. So I want coding. So what I'm going to do is on the right hand side, I'm going to untick or click on the eyes on the right hand side of the other three words. So you can see here, I'm now left just with this text box here that says coding at the moment. So let's add the animation for this. I'm going to go to the animations tab, and we're going to go to add animation, and what we want is lines down here in the motion paths section. So I'm going to click on that, and at the moment nothing appears to be happening because, as you can see here, we have a vertical line to begin with. That's the default. So in the effect options up here, I'm going to change that going from left to right. So you can see the green is where we start, red is where we stop. So we are going to the right, so I'm going to click on that, but we still don't see it. Why? Because it's simply not traveling far enough. And this is where we need to edit the animation. We have a little green triangle just here. Hope you can see that there. A little green triangle and a dotted line and a red triangle. The green triangle again is where this animation begins, and the red one is where it ends. So I'm going to click on this animation, and you can see that now that red triangle has turned into a red circle. Because I don't want to move this text box up or down, I want to keep a nice horizontal line, I'm going to hold the Shift key down and then drag this red circle until the left-hand edge of the text box I'm dragging is exactly in line with the vertical black line. So you can see there's the text box, you can see me moving it there, watch the left-hand edge of it, and it just goes over that vertical black line that we drew earlier. Gonna let go, and that means that those words will be exactly in the right place. So if I was to open up the animation pane now and click play all, we have that word coming out from that black line. But it only comes out, it doesn't go back again. So how can we get it to go back along that same path? Well, in the animation pane here, I'm going to double click that animation. This will bring up the properties panel here, and you can see that in the first tab here, in the effect tab, we have auto reverse. So I'm going to click that, click OK, and then you can see our little preview there, that word disappears back again. There we are. So I'm going to keep the selection pane open and also the animation pane, so you can see how it's helpful to have the thumbnail pane on the left hand side closed up, so that we've got as much room as possible. Because the next thing we're going to do is this same process but for the word creativity. So I'm now going to click the little I there to hide the word coding and instead click on the little I for creativity. And it's the exact same process. Click on the text box, go to Add Animation Lines, change the effect options to right, and then we can just stop the preview of the animation because we know it's not going to be going far enough. So we click once on that little red triangle until it turns into a red circle. Don't forget, hold the Shift key down as you drag that red circle so that you're not moving the text box up and down. And just stop when the left-hand edge of the text box is lined up with that vertical black line. And then when we've done that, we can double click that animation on the right hand side and just tick the little box that says auto reverse. There we go, that's our second animation. So let's now go on to the third one. So I'm going to hide the word creativity, reveal the word collaboration, click, add, line, effect options, right, stop, effect, auto reverse. And I do need to just change the distance like that. So at the moment, we've now got in our animation pane, if I just reveal these other items. By the way, if you look at this and think, well, where are all the other animations? It's because these items are simply hidden. So I'm going to reveal all these items. You can see we have all of our animations there. And what I want is the first animation there will be on a mouse click. You can see it's on click or the little mouse there. But I want the other ones to happen afterwards automatically. But I will, of course, need some kind of delay. And this is where it's going to be a case of just experimenting, really. So the first time I do this, I'm going to click each time, but then we'll look at the timing. So this is just for the first three words. Let's press F5 to start our presentation. And then if I click once, there's the first word, bounces back, click a second time, and there's the second word, bounces back, and then I click a third time, and there's the third word, and bounces back. So, looking good so far. I'm just going to add the final one here, so I'm going to untick those just to hide them for the moment. Click on Computer Science. Now, of course, this is different because this one, I won't want it to bounce back. So it's the same basic animation, so Add Animation, Lines, Effect Options, Right. Stop that for the moment. And again, we'll need to just hold down Shift, grab the red circle and drag it to the right, like that. But I won't want to have it on auto reverse because I want that one to just stay there when we're done. So there we are. Now let's reveal all of those items. So they're all visible now. And we can now set up the timing. So I'm going to have the first one as an on click. I'm going to keep that as on click. The second one though, I want this to take a little bit of time before it kicks in. So I'm going to start it with the previous. So I'm going to click with previous. But obviously that'll mean both words will appear at the same time. So let's add a delay in. The animation is 2 seconds, so it may be that about 2 seconds might be right. Let's do that one. And then let's do collaboration, the third word. Again, that's with the previous animation, but a delay not just of 2 seconds, but now of 4 seconds, because of course it's now got to happen 2 seconds after the previous animation. So each animation we add will be incremented by another 2 seconds. So you can see this sort of bar chart, almost like a Gantt diagram or something, is showing the progress of the animation. So each one happens slightly further after the previous one. So this will be 6 seconds. And of course, it doesn't look as though it's as long an animation because this one doesn't reverse. So let's see how this works. So I'm going to play from this one. So let's see. So there's the word coding comes in, then creativity. Now you see collaboration came a little bit too soon, and then computer science did as well. So what we need to do is click on the collaboration one and just slightly increase the delay. Let's add 1/4 second to that. And then let's play that again. So there's coding, that's fine. Creativity comes in just about right. Collaboration, just about. So now computer science is a little bit too early. So let's click on that one and just add about 1/2 second onto that one. And we're probably about there. So let's try it one more time. So there's 1, 2, 3. And of course, just a little bit more. Of course, the longer words are going to take longer to come out to the right-hand side and then go back again. So this will be different depending on the length of the words that you're using. If all the words you're using are about the same length, then the animations are all going to be about the same length and delay. But if you have a variety, like you can see I've got coding and computer science, almost double the length there, then the delay will need to be played around with. Let's just add another 1/2 second and just very quickly try that one more time. So there's really no alternative but to just experiment with this and play around. Oh, I think I'm not going to test it, but I'm just going to add another 1/4 second and leave it at that. There we go. So I can close the animation pane now. I'll keep the selection pane open for the moment because that's it in terms of the basic fundamental animation. I did have music in mine as well, and if you go to Insert and Audio and then select a track that you used or that you have on your computer, you can then have that as an animation. And what I do is simply put it as an animation that starts with this one here. So when you add some audio, it'll appear probably just at the bottom here. I just click, drag it up, drop it in the second position, and then start that with the previous animation. If you would like to download the demo that I showed you at the beginning of this video, you can do so. If you pop onto the Patreon page, so patreon.com/thetechtrain, then all of the resources that I create in these videos are available for you to download, as well as various other benefits as well. So just check out patreon.com/thetechtrain. Thank you very much indeed to those of you who are already supporting the channel. Right, so how do we get a picture then? Because if I was to insert a picture now, let's go to Insert Pictures and just put this picture here. Now, first of all, you can see that the picture background isn't going to work with the color of text that I've chosen there. So what I'm going to do is actually select the text, the line, and the text boxes over here. So let's select everything and then just deselect the white panel there. And I'm going to change the font now to white, and this line as well needs to be white, which doesn't look like we can see much at all. I'm going to move this picture over there and then drag that down to the very bottom like this. Now this panel here, this great big white panel, and for the moment I'm going to color that red just so that you can still see the letter C is there, the white line is there, and if I was to run this and just press the mouse button, you can see the animation's working. The only problem we've got, of course, is that the red panel is sitting there really obvious. It's awful, but I can't get rid of it, because if I was to get rid of that or make it see-through, you would see all the words underneath. So somehow we need to be able to see this part of this background picture inside the red panel here. How do we do that? Well, what I'm going to do first of all is click on this picture. Just to zoom out a little bit there, click on the picture. I'm just going to name this background like that, and then I'm going to press Ctrl D on my keyboard to make a duplicate of that. So this is now called background, but I'm just going to call this background copy. A very original name. Now, I need these two backgrounds to be perfectly lined up, and you can do that just by nudging it into position, but to make absolutely sure, you can click the first one, move it to the bottom right hand side slightly, hold down the Shift key and then go to Picture Format, Align, and then choose Align Left, and then Align Top. So now the one that was jogged out to the bottom right is perfectly lined up with the other one. Now, if I click this picture, which is the copy, the one on top, hold down the Shift key and click on this little red panel, and you see how I made it stick out slightly so that I can click on that red panel nice and easily. I'm now going to, with both of those selected and selected in that order, going to go to Shape Format, so not Picture Format, but Shape Format, and then over here on the left to Merge Shapes. I'm going to click on that, and if I choose intersect there, sorry, subtract, beg pardon, subtract. So if I choose subtract there, then if I just hide the background picture for a moment, no, that was wrong, my apologies, I knew I would. There we are, let's try that again, not subtract, it is intersect, just double check that. Yes, there we are, intersect. My apologies, there we are. So intersect is what we want. So what that's done basically, if I just hide the background picture, that red panel that I had has now been turned into this part of the picture that is in the exact same location as the background part of that picture. So we've got that white panel or red panel still there, but it's actually in front of this white, the text and the background picture. So we've got a bit of a cheat going on there. I have also noticed that that white line is being slightly eaten, so that has moved down hierarchy. Let's click that white line and bring that back up to the top there so it's in front of that hidden panel. And we've also lost the C. Let's bring that up so it's in front of that picture. There we go. And there we are. So now if we run this presentation and I click, we have the first word coming out. You see how that fragment of the picture on the left-hand side is covering up the words as they disappear off to the left-hand side. There we are. As simple as that. And if you want to, you can add certain effects. So if I just select everything there, get rid of that line as well. I can go into shape format, text effects, and maybe add a reflection or something like that. It looks quite good. So I hope you enjoyed that. You can obviously add sound, you can add other bits and pieces, but as a basic title, it works well, I think. And of course, what you can do is, as I said earlier, replace this letter C here on the left-hand side with a logo or something instead. You could have your logo here and then a series of titles coming out from the right-hand side. So I think that works quite well. If you have any questions at all about this tutorial, anything that you're not sure about, would like extra help with, comments, queries, anything at all, please do leave them in the comments section below. I do read the comments. I do my best to reply to them as soon as I can. I am a teacher, and as such, there's obviously quite a lot going on in my life, but I do my best to try and read and respond as soon as I possibly can, but it's always appreciated. Your comments, your support are always very, very valued, as are the likes and subscribes as well. It makes a real difference to the channel. So thank you very much indeed for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Bye for now.